Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages. Once again, this is Jeffrey Daniel coming to you from Abuja, Nigeria. Today is December 9th, 2022, according to that Gregorian calendar. And also, according to that Gregorian calendar, do you guys understand that New Year's is not really January? It's supposed to be in March until Julius Caesar came along and changed the new year from March back to January to honor the god of beginnings. And it was the god Janus. That's why January, because the goddess Janus. Okay? Single-handedly, Julius Caesar just came and just manipulated our month calendar. Okay? I've talked about this before, you guys. And for those of you who are hearing this for the first time, as I always say, fact check me. You guys can look all this up, okay? So, as I said in my other video, our perception of reality, the world that we're looking at is not even what we think it is. It's just been manipulated and been chopped up and flipped up and rubbed down and everything. Okay, anyway, it's nice seeing you guys again. I hope you guys are keeping well. I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves and your loved ones. Okay, once again, I'm very happy to be addressing the beautiful people. And I told you before, the beautiful people are the people who are seeking truth, justice, honesty. It's just, being human, being real human. You got, especially the information. For those of you who are going for the real information, you're the beautiful people, okay? All right, here we go. As I say, every subscriber is a gift and every viewer is a blessing and vice versa. In this climate of fake news and cancel culture, I endeavor to be the voice of reason. Remember, if you encounter any uncomfortable truths, the truth has no obligation to be comfortable. It just has to be honest. And this is the information age, and ignorance is a choice. Okay, so the choice is yours. All right, so there's so much going on in the world today. It's difficult to keep up in real time. So get ready for this information excursion as I address the things that matter, okay? I want to keep on the things that matter. I told you all before, stop looking for happiness. Happiness is a very ephemeral emotion. It's fleeting, okay? But contentment can last a lifetime. You see, you need to be content with the quality of people and things that are in your life. Stop trying to validate yourself with expensive name brand clothes or overpriced jewelry and motor vehicles. Only peace of mind and contentment can bring true happiness. Believe that, okay? You can believe that, Martin Luther used to say. All right. I think it's time for us to all stop and just take a look at ourselves and where we are going. This society that we're living in has been slowly dehumanizing us over the years, over the decades and centuries. Just look at our priorities now. We've been reduced to taking the one chip challenge. Have you all seen that? The one chip challenge. It comes in like a coffin shaped little package. It's wrapped up very carefully. They peel it out and they take it, and it's supposed to be the hottest and spiciest pepper on the planet. I don't know if it's natural, if it's chemical, whatever the case may be. And they take this thing and they put it in their mouth and they eat it. Some people have put 3 and 4 in their mouths for either a bet or to win money or whatever. And they try and see how long they can take. If you can bear it for like 1 minute, or if you can bear it for 5 minutes, if you can bear it for 30 minutes or an hour, I guess the bigger the prize or whatever's going on. And some people actually think this is amusing. People are actually damaging their internal organs just for a bet or a laugh. If this is what we devolved into, I mean, I don't know, you guys, where are we going as a species? It's just strange. And what's supposed to be the best of us, or shall I say, the most prominent amongst us, are showing up to red carpet events dressed either like circus clowns or almost nude. I'm not trying to be a fashion police, but I've seen some of the most ridiculous attempts to try and look avant-garde or stylish. Some seriously silly, cartoonish, buffoonish failures, and in front of the whole nation. People are just that desperate to be recognized. Are we that desperate to be recognized? Rappers are being shot dead like it's just business as usual. And you just had to say goodbye to one of the members of the Amigos. He wasn't even in an altercation. He just happened to be at that place at that time. And he's dead. You know, young, beautiful people, you guys, talented people just showing up dead like that. You know, I don't know what's going on. And most of us are seeking gratifications from complete strangers on social media and will lower our integrity in the gutter just to gain views, competing for who has the highest viewership numbers. It's a silly contest unless you're using your platform for a positive or informative cause. Then having many views, okay, it's paramount. Not just to say, hey, look at me, here I am, look at me. And that's what a lot of you guys are doing on there, you know. But this is the information age, and this is what we're living in. I got some juicy stuff coming up for you guys, so I want you guys to hang in here with me, okay? As I say, lean in with me. I want to talk about these deadly games. The worst thing that I've come across are these video games advertising online, showing people being murdered, maimed, and dismembered in the most bloody and gruesome details you can imagine. And I can't even bear to watch it. And I'm a grown man. It's overly disgusting, repulsive, and sickening. And then they're wondering why people are walking into schools and supermarkets, opening fire on innocent civilians and children. They are actually grooming a generation of mass murderers on these games. You know, just like commercial pilots and astronauts, they have to train in a flight simulator so to be proficient navigators. Well, these kids are being trained in a killing simulator and becoming very proficient at it. You are what you eat, and you become what you take in. I told you all before, your diet is not just what you eat. It's what you see, what you hear, feel, and expose your spirit to. And we are no longer following our circadian rhythms. It's the natural flow of existing on this planet and with nature and humanity. If none of you have heard of that before, your circadian rhythm, you need to check that out and see what it's about. It's the rotation of the earth in confluence with getting sunlight and being nighttime, getting vitamin D from the sun, vitamin B from the sun, when the best hours we should be eating, the best hours we should be sleeping, the best hours we can be thinking and working. That's our circadian rhythm. And we just offer that because we got all these man-made things, you know, 24-hour supermarket, ordering pizza at 3 in the morning, watching cable TV all night long when we should be sleeping and rejuvenating our cells in our body. And we're getting away from that. If you guys haven't heard of it, look it up, your circadian rhythm, and see what that's about, okay? I don't know, you guys. I want to talk about the Smith family. I'm going to talk about the Smith family real quick. And it has nothing to do with the Oscar slap. I don't want to talk about that. I'm not addressing the Oscar slap. We're past that. We're gone. Will Smith is over it. We've gone through it. I hope Chris Rock is over it. That's done. Okay. First of all, I always refrain from bringing people's children into the conversation, but I feel very compelled to address Will and Jada Smith's children, since so many of you have so much to say about them, and you know who you are. You know who you are. I recently saw a video of Willow Smith, their daughter, their amazingly beautiful daughter. That girl is gorgeous. And at first I was taken aback hearing her screaming over a heavy metal type song. I guess knowing her father comes from hip hop, we naturally assume his children would not fall too far from the tree. But then I remember how appalled I was a few years ago when a much younger Willow Smith debuted a song about whipping her hair back and forth. You guys remember that, okay? It was a very cute presentation for such a young girl. You guys remember that, okay? I whip my hair back and forth. I whip my hair, it's schoolgirl, whatever she was doing. Then reading the barrage of hate and total disrespect being fired at her for just coming out with a song that didn't even offend anyone. I was furious at the way people was insulting her and calling her the B word just for expressing her young talents. I just couldn't wrap my brains around how people could be so mean and insensitive. So now I get her being defiant and expressing her rage through such alternative music. And the crazy thing about it is she has a very, very nice singing voice. So when she's not screaming, she has a very nice tonal quality to her voice. Then I remember back When her brother, Jaden Smith, starred with his father in The Pursuit of Happiness, they got an Oscar nomination. Then The Karate Kid, I just knew his acting career was confirmed and the sky was the limit. I just knew a young superstar was born. But when Will Smith released the movie After Earth, which on these movies are through his own production company, Overbrook, okay? When he released the After Earth, the media just slaughtered the film before it was even released, giving it the worst reviews imaginable, and tore poor little Jaden Smith apart with the bad reviews. I'm thinking, how do you attack young kids like that, especially following in his father's footsteps? Now, I don't know him personally, but I'm sure those harsh and unfair, brutal attacks had a very negative effect on young Jaden. You know, young kids, they're very impressionable. And what they're taking in is what helps build them and what helps shape them and make them. And I'm sure that barrage of horrible, critiques and all this, and who did they think he are? We think this is the worst movie. And I told you guys before, I went and saw the movie, regardless of what I was hearing in the media about it, all the negative reports it was getting. And I sat there and was wondering, what is wrong with this movie? It was entertaining. The ships were designed nice. The alien who he couldn't see you, but he can smell you by your fear. All these things were kind of original, and it was all about the relationship. Even with all these special effects and spaceships and aliens, it was really about the relationship between a father and his son. And it was a very beautiful story. And I told you guys about that before. I just couldn't understand. I guess it's because, like I said, Hollywood, you can make money with them, but they don't want you to take over. We got a power outage, you guys, right here. The power will be back soon, so I'll just keep on going. Okay, anyway, you know what I'm saying? It's like they will allow you to make money for them and with them. But when you start biting off too much, like owning your own production company, owning your own record label, trying to buy your own TV station, trying to buy your own social media network, you see some slapback for that. You see some slapback for that. So I didn't understand why they gave that film and Jaden Smith such horrible reviews, because we enjoyed it. We enjoyed it very much. If you guys haven't seen it, you need to check out the movie After Earth, okay? And, here's the thing about it, okay? Check this out, you guys. Lean in with me on this, all right? Do you think that the young Harry Potter star's performance was stellar? Did you think so? Hell no. But the movie was just interesting. But they eventually grew more into seasoned actors as the sequels progressed. Then you all criticize the way you see Will Smith's kids expressing themselves now. So how do you expect them to be reacting now after the way that you guys have treated them for trying to come out and be entertainers? I guess not so conventional as normal black kids are. And that's why you see them presented themselves in such an alternative and an abstract way now, because when they tried to come in through the regular door, they were just met with a bunch of hate and a bunch of negative reaction from the public, unjustifiably. So, but I'm telling you all now, in fact, I'm warning you all now, you better back the F off of Willow Smith, because that girl, that young lady, is fine and mofo. I mean, that girl is beautiful and talented as hell. Okay, here goes the lights. We're back on now. And you know what? She did not do anything to deserve this unwarranted diatribes that she was met with, just for being a young girl expressing her talent. You know what? You all are some serial haters. You guys are serial haters. Just be hating for the sake of it. Heartless keyboard warriors. But I'm telling you guys, back off of Willow Smith, because that girl is beautiful and she's got a lot ahead of her. Jaden Smith, he's a beautiful young man. But look at what they're going through, And their family has been really under the microscope lately, and what's going on between the mother and father, the whole Oscar slap thing, and the whole entanglement business and that, which has nothing to do with the kids. But allow these kids to come out and grow. Allow them to be who they were meant to be, okay, you guys? Let's be fair, okay? And another thing, while we're on the subject, can somebody tell me Why is it so damn popular to hate on Beyonce? I don't get that. I just don't get it. We watched that girl work her fingers to the bone. She single-handedly switched up the lyrical and vocal flow of every female singer that came after her and still producing quality work, you know? But if you don't like her music or her presentation, feel free to just move the F on. That's all you got to do, okay? Why waste your life's energy to come on social media to leave hateful comments? What in the hell did Beyonce ever do to any of you personally to deserve all the... It seems like every time she comes out with something, oh, Beyonce, yeah, I can't stand her. Oh, no. They even did this thing like, who are your best female artists? Beyonce or this one or that one or that one? Oh, no, not Beyonce, definitely. The girl can sing her ass off. The girl can dance her ass off. The girl has a beautiful ass. Sorry, Jay-Z, don't mean to get personal with your wife. But I'm just saying, she's the total package. And all you guys can do is hate on her? You guys are just some serial haters. I guess you guys, you just don't like to see people's success. It seems like people's success is pissing a lot of you people off. I don't know. The success of the Smith family is pissing some people off. I just don't get it, you guys. Anyway, you all need to find some love and happiness in your own lives and stop stalking other people's careers with hate. If you don't like what an artist, and there are quite a few that I just find unsavory, but I just move on. You know? What does it benefit me to spew hateful comments at them? What does that kind of behavior have to do with the pursuit of happiness in my life? But when I see something that excites me, I do not hesitate to leave a positive comment or a word of encouragement. It's about uplifting each other. You see, that's what we need to be doing. I ignore the stupid stuff and just get on with my life. And there's a lot of stupid stuff online, but I just ignore it and get on with my life, okay? So anyway, you guys, enough of trying to, reprimand you people for your behavior, but I want to get on with some good topics, okay? Some juicy topics, okay? Let me get one sip real quick. Today is one of the hottest. That's about 36 Celsius, 37. It's hot in the motherfucker. Okay, anyway. Before I get started, you guys, I would just like to thank the ADL and the Jewish community. Thank you very much. And I'm going to tell you why. They have just did a great service to the Black community that Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X could not have achieved. Because of their attacks and public lynching on a few of our most prominent Black figures lately, their attacks have awoken and helped galvanize the Black community across the borders of religious diversities, different political affiliations, and incongruous ideologies. I have never seen our people come together so unified for one cause. In fact, most of us, we don't even subscribe to Kanye's rants and would have normally ignored him or distanced ourselves from his outbursts. And the way that Kyrie Irving displayed such integrity and calm throughout this whole ordeal, it only endeared people to him instead of pushing people away from him. So thank you, the ADL, for bringing our people together so unanimously. And also, ADL and Jewish community, you only have yourselves to thank for making Hebrews and Negroes such a popular piece of work. I'm sure that brother Ronald Dalton, he's the author, is ecstatic with the sudden overwhelming popularity of his book and movie, and it's all due to the ADL and Jewish community for their outstanding promotion of the product. To be honest, until the ADL attacked Kyrie Irving, I had never even heard of Ronald Dalton or Hebrews to Negroes, as most of us haven't. But now Blacks globally are being re-educated on our histories that has been hidden and omitted from general curriculum. Whether the ADL agrees with it or not, which has never been a prerequisite, but people are being re-educated. So thank you, ADL. You guys only have yourselves to thank for that. And speaking of a peculiarity, I recently heard a couple of rabbis advising that more Americans should learn more about the Holocaust and the Jewish persecution. Wow. The American government wants to remove critical race theory from our school's curriculum. Now let's marinate on that for a while. Think about that. They don't want students to learn what the American government was responsible for doing to its citizens of African descent, but the ADL feel it's imperative that we all learn what the German Nazis did to the European Jews in Germany. That's not even American history. Listen, I didn't create this, you guys, so don't, if you want to come at me, you're wasting your time. It did not even take place on American soil. I'm not saying we shouldn't learn about the German Nazi Jewish Holocaust, but must we ignore the many Holocausts of African Americans and Africans and the native Indians? Now, that there is American history. I'm talking about America, in America. What's happening in America? The Jewish community do not own a monopoly on Holocaust. I will say this again. The Jewish community do not own a monopoly on Holocaust. In fact, I don't mean to compare atrocities, but the Nazi German Jewish Holocaust doesn't even rank in the top 5 of Holocausts, maybe even the top 10. They reported that Hitler killed 6 million Jews during World War II. Okay, let's go with the narrative. How many of you know that King Leopold of Belgium killed 50, this is a conservative figure. It's reported that he killed over 15 million Africans in the Congo around the year 1885. In fact, they reported the cutting off of the natives' right hands if they didn't meet the daily quota collecting sap from rubber trees, just because the Industrial Revolution had taken off in Europe, and they found out that that's where all this rubber comes from. And then what they did was they put all the women and children and they locked them away in a place and held them captive to make the men and young boys go out in the forest and get sap from these rubber trees. And if they came back and if they didn't meet their quota, they would chop off their right hand. And one day they collected something like 1,000 right hands that had been cut off. Should you guys be learning about this? Should you guys be learning about this? If we want to talk about Holocaust, then let's bring out Holocaust, you guys, because there's a lot of them. There's a plethora of Holocausts that we can go through, okay? Between 1904 and 1908, the Germans massacred the Herero and the Namakwa natives of Namibia. And I'm sure most of you don't even know where Namibia is. It's down towards the bottom left corner of Africa, where the bottom right half is South Africa, okay? That's Namibia. It's a beautiful place and they have a lot of diamonds there, okay? And the Germans rushed up in there. And between 1904 and 1908, the figures are arguably, but it was the first genocide of the 20th century, put it that way, okay? Are you guys learning about that? Are we being told about that? Chairman Mao Zedong of China is responsible for an estimated 45 million deaths between 1958 and 1962 during his Leap Forward campaign. It was the Cultural Revolution that was going on when he took over. And he's responsible for the death of 45 million people. You see what I'm getting at, you guys? You see where I'm going with this? It's conservatively reported that 15 million African men and women and children lost their lives during the transatlantic slave trade, and that's a conservative figure. Now, we don't need to be comparing atrocities committed against innocent humans, but I just want to point out that the Nazi Jewish Holocaust is not the only Holocaust that needs to be taught. If we're going to learn about Holocaust, great, but let's not be selective. Should history be selective? In other news, you guys, Brother Ye has once again made another public outburst that had the ADL and Jewish community going bananas, now claiming Hitler to be a great man. But our community, and I just want you guys to know, our community is just as surprised as the Jews are, but we are standing together in unity and praying for our brother Ye to chill out for a while and please let things cool down. You know what? Actually, he's just pushing buttons. That's all he's doing in response to what they did to his business deals. After having billions of dollars worth of business deals just snatched away from you all of a sudden within a couple of days, his rage is kind of understandable. his rage, not how he's wording it and doing it, but how would you feel if you had all this money lined up and a group of people just said, I don't like what you said, and just took all these multi-billion-dollar deals away from you? I think you'd be pissed too, so this is his reaction. He's just pushing buttons. And you know what? You would think that they would have much more important things to do with their time than to follow Ye's tweets and interviews. We do. So if that's the best that the ADL and Jewish community could do, is just like cling to his every word and his every emotion and reaction, well, that's what you're going to get. So you guys are going to be, chasing your tail in circles or whatever, following this guy. I just want the ADL and Jewish community to know this. Even the black community takes Kanye West with a grain of salt lately. I'm not trying to negate the brother, his brilliant work and his beautiful thoughts that are positive and some of the great things he's done. We can roll with that, but some of the things he says and some of his behavior is questionable to us too. So ADL and Jewish community, don't feel like it's just you. It's not just you, it's everybody, okay? All right, there we go. All right, so once again, my prescience and my perspicacity is on point. I never could understand how all this cryptocurrency business ever made sense. And no matter who I shared my suspicions with, they tried to convince me that it's the way of the future and the best new thing. Well, I guess I'm just not so willing to jump on the newest bandwagon that comes to town. And lo and behold, the FTX cryptocurrency company went bankrupt. Their CEO, his name is Sam Bankman-Fried. Isn't that ironic? His name is Bankman-Fried. I guess the Bankman got fried. Okay, anyway, I guess the CEO, Sam Bankman-Fried, went from 26 billion to 0. That's worse than Kanye West. Oh my goodness. I always suspected it to be an elaborate Ponzi scheme, or very sophisticated, like a pyramid scheme at best. The more people that play, the more money is in the pot. Simple mathematics. So I still really don't know that much about cryptocurrency business, and I can only compare it to the music industry. And let me tell you guys where I'm going at with this, okay? Why I compare this whole cryptocurrency business to the music industry. Check me out. You see, before online streaming, back when we were selling tangible hard copy albums and cassettes, our albums would ship out like gold, which means 500,000 copies were being distributed across the country. But even then, knowing how many records were being pressed and shipped out, we were still being ripped off by record companies. So now that music is being sold by streams, and you need X amount of streams in order to accumulate X amount of money with all the data in their computers, how do you know how many streams that you're really generating? How would you know? You just have to trust their words, because you cannot look into their computer data. So if I'm sounding skeptical, you're going to understand why. Do you all remember MTV Cribs? You guys remember that? MTV Cribs? When they showed the lifestyle of the stars of hip hop and their lavish homes and collection of exotic whips and all that. Now, tell me if it's just me tripping. You guys, I want you to tell me if it's only me tripping. When records were being sold in record shops and the artists were making money and off the percentage of each record sold instead of how many streams they accumulated, young black artists were coming out of woodworks making millions upon millions of dollars. And the record companies were giving artists an advanced production deal of a couple of $1,000 just to bring in a good demo. You guys remember those good old days? I remember seeing Missy Elliott's crib. I remember seeing Nelly's crib, and they showed Snoop Dogg's crib and so on and so forth. These artists were making major bank without a PhD or bachelor degree. It seems they weren't the only ones paying attention. Are you following me? Are you guys seeing where I'm getting at with this? But once they stopped pressing and selling albums and putting music online, bam, that was the end of artists making a percentage of each sale of the albums and singles. Now it's all about online streamings, which give the artists far less returns than what they were making from the copies of hard sales, I remember hearing, do you guys remember this? And I don't know if you guys heard this, because I don't know if you guys keep up with the music business behind the scenes stuff going on. I remember hearing how much Pharrell Williams made off of the song Happy, which was the most popular song in the universe at its time. But he only made, listen to this, you guys, listen, the most popular song that was trending at that time. Different countries were making their own version of the video happy, and all this stuff was going on. He only made $6,300 for 105 million online streams. For 105 million plays on online streaming, he only made $6,300 off of such a popular song. That means if he had sold 105 singles for $1 each, that would have generated $105 million. So it makes you think, was changing up the sales by design? Was this plan in order to prevent these young, super talented artists from enriching themselves? It makes you go, people, we have to question everything. Who decided to put music online, streaming platforms anyway? And who owns them? That's all I'm going to say about that. That's all I'm going to say about that. You know what? I'm trying to keep it real. I'm trying to be a 1,000 with you guys. Just keep it 100. Keep it 1,000. One of the hardest things that people can do on social media, and that is be real. I'm not talking about saying and doing things to make people feel comfortable. I'm talking about keeping it 100% real. No chasers, and no cushions. Don't let me get tongue-tied real. It's hot here, you guys. My mouth's getting dry. Sorry. You know what? Sometimes I too am guilty of sugarcoating certain information as not to offend certain groups of people, or not to be labeled as being too radical or racist, because then they'll pull down your post, or they'll put you in Facebook jail or YouTube prison or whatever it is that they do. But today, I really want to disseminate some raw, unfiltered, and unadulterated truths, okay? So I want you guys to lean in with me. And I know some emotions are going to get ruffled, as some people's intellectual frame of reference is going to be challenged. But regardless to how the truth makes you feel personally, you should accept it, because honesty is still the best policy. For instance, this is silly, you guys, but here's one truth you guys may not know about me. I am still skittish when it comes to getting injections. Ever since I was a kid, I was afraid of injection needles. Now, I know it really doesn't hurt, but I still cannot watch the needles penetrate into my skin. I just have to look in the opposite direction. When I see them bringing out the syringe, I just ball up my fist and I just look the other way. And it's just a little pinch now, but for some reason, I just don't like to look at it. I don't like seeing that. So even though the injection is good for me, it just comes with a little sting. But this is how people are treating the truth. They don't want to look it in the face, but the truth will set you free. It's good for you, it's good for humanity, but y'all still don't want to hear the truth. Y'all, you want everything sugar-coated. You don't want the truth. You can't handle the truth, as they say in the movie. You can't handle the truth. And this is the era of fake news and cancel culture. The truth will get you canceled. That's what's happening today. Speaking the truth will get you canceled. As I said before, intelligent people are being silenced as not to offend stupid people. Okay? Now, I'm going to get into this whole European paradigm thing, but before I get into that, I guess I have to say that Brittany Griner, the basketball player that went to play in Russia, she's just been released. So she has been flown back to America. Even so, there are people in the Republican Party who are feeling like they don't think that that was justified, because there's another guy that's being held that was accused of espionage or, spying or whatever like this. And they feel that he should have been, but it was up to the Russians. The Russians said, no, if you either take her or take nothing. We're not going to allow two for the price of one. And they released from the American prison the guy that they called the merchant of death, who was selling arms to different countries, that was helping support wars and coups and terrorism, whatever, and they let him go. They get her back. I didn't know anything about her until she was thrown into the prison, because I don't follow sports, you guys, and so. But I'm glad that she's back home, and I do pray that the guy that was left behind, that they eventually get him out. Everybody just have to come and show their hatred and disdain for even positive things. This is where we're at. This is what's going on, you guys, you know? So I wish her well. I wish her football team well, and I wish her family well. I wish everybody well. That's the whole thing, okay? All right. So once again, I want to remind all of you that when I'm speaking about a certain race or a government, I'm not referring to every member of that race, but the people that are in that particular race that has the power to affect such changes in our world and our society. So if I say the Europeans, or if I say the Asians, or whoever, of course, I'm not talking about every individual European or Asian. So are you with me? Okay, here we go. So when we take a look at the world around us, okay? When we take a look at the world around us and where we are all at today, and let's be honest, I'm being honest, you guys. It's plain to see that the intervention, invasions, if you will, and the takeover by the Europeans have thrown our entire planet and natural way of life off course. Severely off course. Catastrophically off course. And I'm being honest with you guys. Follow with me, roll with me. Now, does that sound racist to you? Or like an honest, accurate assessment? Like I said, the truth can be very uncomfortable, but it has no obligation to be comfortable. It just has to be honest. So if any Europeans are offended by what I have just conveyed, look back at history before the great industrial revolution that kicked off in Britain and Europe in the late 1700s. Before then, there was no such thing as a threat of air pollution, resulting in respiratory diseases. There was no plastic in the oceans and depleted coral reefs. There were no spills, no oil spills, no nuclear weapons, no nuclear power plants, and no artificial preservatives in our food products that are causing an array of health problems. There's no chemicals in the cosmetic products and our cleaning products at home that's also causing health issues. No depletion of hectaacres of forest, which minimizes the Earth's oxygen supply. And the list goes on and on and on and on. Now, I know some of our natural reflexes are to snap back and say, well, you can't put all this just on the Europeans. Okay, so let's remove the European countries from the equation and see who's responsible for creating this catastrophic chain of events and see who's left standing. And I'll wait. I'm waiting. Of course, the rest of the world now has adapted to that, and we're all now accessories to it, but we're talking about how this thing got started. That's why a lot of people are having major health problems, because you're eating too much sugar, because sugar makes your body acidity. And when your body is acidity, then you're prone to all the diseases, diabetes, and obesities, and all these other diseases that you have, poor eyesight and all these things. Your body has to be more alkaline. Well, what happened in the 1800s? They discovered the sugar cane plantations down in Jamaica and these places, and then they started making processed sugar. That only started in the 1800s. Now they started making all these pastry shops. Then they started putting sugar in this and sugar in that. And now they bleached the sugar to make it white. And they put sugar cubes. Now you all have, I do not keep sugar in my home. I use honey. I do not use any sugar in my home at all. I've been that way for years. But in a lot of foods have sugar in it, processed sugar. And it's killing us. But it started back in the 1800s with this whole industrial revolution and that, when they started processing everything. So there's so many things in our society that is slowly killing us. Pharmaceutical medicines are killing us because they're made out of synthetic materials. They don't really cure, but what they do is they address that whatever issue is going on, and they treat that issue, but without fully curing the body. And because it's synthetic materials and synthetic medicines, and I want to talk about this, you guys, one day, it leaves a residue in our body because that's not natural to our body. It's indigenous. And that's when you start taking on other side effects. That's why every time you see a medicine, a box, a bottle, or whatever, is it side effects may include nausea, throwing up, going blind, losing a leg, losing an eye, da, 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 da. The list of side effects outweigh the initial thing that you're even trying to cure in the first place, because that's what these synthetic medicines do. And they chased away all the holistic medicine people and got everybody hooked on these chemical and synthetic medicines. And I need to talk about that in its whole thing, because it was John D. Rockefeller who did this. But let's keep going, you guys. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's keep going, okay? Let me ask you something. I'm going to ask you guys something, okay? And this is deep. Very simple, but deep. How many of you are proud of your country? How many of you love your country? Well, the Europeans actually created countries. You guys, oh no, they didn't. They weren't the Europeans created countries. Until they came on the scene, there was no such thing as a country. We had nations. We developed nations. And a nation is a group of people with a thriving and developing culture, society, language, relationship with nature and humanity and our Creator. And we didn't have such designated borderlines drawn to outline our place of existence. We knew what our perimeters were, and we respected other nations' perimeters, and we even shared grazing grounds, rivers, lakes, and land areas. There was harmony. Now, I'm not alluding to the fact, I'm trying to say that there was never any territorial expansion disputes or anything like that from time to time, but the concept of being the master of everything I survey had not reached us yet. That's why still today, when you look at the maps of even Japan, you don't see such defined borderlines distinguishing the 8 regions that are divided into 47 prefectures across the Japanese island. You mostly see the names of the prefectures. You know, the Hyogo prefecture, they got the Honshu, they got the, what did they call it up where Nagoya is? I'm thinking fast and I slip my mind, but where Tokyo is, they got the Yokohama it was one prefecture, Tokyo's in another prefecture. I'm forgetting, I feel stupid because I know the names of all these prefectures, but it slipped my mind, But all I'm saying is go look at a Japanese map. It shows the names of all the different prefectures and stuff, and then the names of the cities. They're not so, well, this is the border of Tokyo, and this is the border of Kanagawa, and this is the border of Osaka. There's a Naniwa. There's the Naniwa area, and the whole Hyogo prefecture, and the Kyushu, and the Shikoku, the Shikoku, and all these different areas, up to Nagoya, up to Aomori, up to Hokkaido, and all these different places. If they don't chop it up the way, if you go to the United States and see how California is carved out like that, Nevada is carved like that, then Arizona is carved like that, and that, it's like, this whole thing of me-ism, mine-ism, it came from the Europeans. We didn't chop ourselves. In Africa, we had the Sokoto Empire. They had their area. Even when they expanded and they had the Songhai Empire. But it wasn't such a defined borderline, but we knew where the area was. It's the Ife Empire, down to the Calabar Empire or the Edo Empire. We had empires, we had nations. We didn't have countries, you see? So it was nothing like now the 45 countries are carved out across Africa. That was divided among the Europeans. They came and carved all this up. I'm just showing you guys how the Europeans came in and just raved havoc on the rest of the world. And we are all now living in that paradigm, as if it's natural, as if it's natural to us. And that's why we're having all this confusion, and things aren't really running in such harmonious, flows, because we're dealing with paradigms that are very unnatural to us. I told you guys before, if you go to a zoo, and you see where they keep the lion or see where they keep the polar bear, they try to recreate what their natural environment looks like. Otherwise, those animals would go crazy because they would be in a totally different environment. They wouldn't know how to deal with it. That's what we're doing. Us humans are living in environments that are not natural to us. They're not in confluence with our way of life and our thinking and our cultures, but we're still trying to survive. We're trying to get along with it, okay? We just had different nations spread across the continent. That's all we had. People were more concerned about their relationship with nature and learning from it, not trying to manipulate it or replace it. I'm going to speak about that. Okay? So, but still, most African countries don't have defined borderlines dividing within the countries, like let's say Nigeria. Okay? We know where Abuja is. You know, we know where Benue is. We know this and that and that and that and that. Well, a lot of it was carved up by the Europeans, and then we followed their pattern and we carved it up too. But if you go to some other countries, you just see the names of cities and the names of this. You don't see it so carved out the way the European concept have carved these things out, you know. So you guys need to look at this. And you know, another thing, this is another thing. Now, Africans in the Benin Republic and Ghana and Togo, they think they have no relation to each other because of the carved out borderlines and their spoken lingua francas. You see, their national languages have become English, French, or Portuguese. But we also know Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo, and some other languages are spoken across many borders because a lot of them are the same people until these border lines were drawn and given names to these new countries. Nigeria, Togo, Benin, you know, Ghana, you know, the Ivory Coast and Senegal and da-da-da-da. They just came and they just chopped it up like a cake and sliced it and divided it into all these little things. But the people are still up and down, and they no longer even know that they're the same people. They think that, oh, well, the people in that country, well, the people in this country, we didn't have countries before, okay? All right, let me get off of that. What I'm getting at is all this Ukraine and Russia conflict is predicated by the borderlines that were drawn around these countries. You see, because at one time, Ukraine was part of the USSR, you know? And this is what they do. Once you start drawing these borderlines and chopping everything up, you know, and then Putin is like a schoolyard bully talking about, come on, step over the line, I dare you. Here, step over the line. I dare you to cross the line. That's what the bullies do in the schoolyard. You guys know that, right? You guys have seen some of them. We used to live on a planet, and all of it was our home at one time. It was just a planet, and that was our home. You know, we had already circumnavigated the entire planet while the Europeans still thought the Earth was flat. Now, how do we know this to be evident? Because anywhere the Europeans traveled to, they found native people of color wherever they went were already there. Ask Columbus. Ask the Pilgrims. Ask Marco Polo. Ask all of them. Everywhere they went, they found people of color were already there, okay? So we had already circumnavigated the globe. We already knew the circumference of the earth. We already understood the alignment of the stars and the constellations. We had all this going on before the Europeans arrived, okay? I'm not trying to diss the Europeans. That's not what this is about. I'm trying to see how we got into this thing so we can understand how to wrestle ourselves out of it, because it's not working and it's getting worse and worse as time goes on. Look at what's going on around us. Just look at the news. This is why I'm addressing this, okay? So there's a method to it, and I'm about resolve. That's what I tried to find, okay? We're talking about in Europe too. How many of you know that the original inhabitants of Italy were what is it called? The Etruscans? The original inhabitants of Italy were the Etruscans, and they were a people of dark color long before the Greeks and other Caucasoids came and took over. Now, this is what they do. They come in and they take over where the native people are, okay? You see, so they didn't teach you guys this in school. They don't teach us this in school. And I had to wait till I grew up and started learning about all this stuff. So you guys look this up. The Etruscans, they were the original native people of that area that is now called Italy and Rome and all that stuff, okay? So, could somebody please answer this question for me? Speaking of governments and countries and stuff, of course this is a rhetorical question, but how does a government so brutally persecute its own citizens? That doesn't make sense to me. Shouldn't that type of treatment be reserved for foreign enemies? When you're looking at what's going on in Iran, China, and Russia, just to name a few, Iran is beating, jailing, and even sentencing its citizens to death for voicing their disdain for government abuse against them. For coming out and protesting about the government killing them. Now the government is killing them. A popular rapper is about to be sentenced to death for opposing the government's heavy hand against its own citizens too. Where does this disconnect come from between those elected government officials and the people of the country? Don't the members of government come from the citizen population? Don't the members of government, what are they? Do they ship in people from another country to take over the government? Therefore, that they have no personal feelings to the civilian population, so they can send the army to go out and open fire and beat and kill people. And the citizens are the people who elect these leaders, only to have the same leaders just turn on you when you don't agree with their policies. And we know that everybody's not going to agree with everything. There's always going to be some, disagreements and this and that. But do you have to treat your citizens such as? And the craziest thing about this whole thing in Iran, and the Iran government, the soccer team that's playing in the World Cup in Qatar, they were threatening their family members back at home if the players were to dare to go out and continue to protest against the government during the World Cup in Qatar. They said, if you guys go out there and embarrass us, your family members at home, we will deal with them. My God, my God. And they even killed one of the citizens for rejoicing at the Iranian team losing to the US soccer team, because the people were against the government. So when their team lost to USA, some Iranians went out and celebrated it, and they shot this guy in the head for celebrating. It's just a damn game. It's just a game. My God. But the point is, it's the same thing going on between Russia and Ukraine. The Russian government arrested many of its citizens who opposed the Ukraine invasion. Instead of listening to its citizens, it practices a policy of my way or the highway to the very people who elected them in office. When you're a government official, when you're elected to govern your country, you're supposed to be looking out for the best interest of your citizens. You're supposed to be looking out for the people. It shouldn't be, well, if those people don't agree with what I say, kill them, beat them. And if they protest, go out there and arrest them. Instead of listening to them. That's your job, is to listen to the people and see what it is that's making the people uncomfortable, what's making the people's lives, so unbearable, that how can we fix this for the people? But they're so caught up in finances. Who's this guy who's just been put in jail? The former president of one of those countries, Argentina or Brazil or something like that, and one of the former president of South Korea, they threw her butt in jail for corruption. This is what they do when they get in office. I guess they have access to so much that they go, my God, and they just get carried away with it, But I don't see why they have to turn against their own citizens like that. So I'm praying for the people in Iran who are protesting for their basic human rights. I'm praying for people all over the world who are praying for the mistreatment that they're getting from their own government. Okay, that's what I'm getting at. And I don't know. I think that one day in the future, we might have to do away with governments altogether. Because do we really need one person to just sit up and make, policy for everybody else? I don't know. And you know what? They're quick to come out and denounce the slightest little comment that the black entertainers make. Kanye West, Kyrie Irving, Whoopi Goldberg, or Nick Cannon, or whoever. But where's the outrage at what Trump is spewing out against the U.S. Constitution? Have you guys heard that? That kind of rhetoric is dangerous and anti-Jewish, anti-me-ish, anti-you-ish, and anti-all of us. How can you come out and say, well, we need to get rid of the American Constitution? I don't know, you guys. And now we're hearing Biden is willing to talk with Putin. So if this conflict can be resolved by talks, why wait till after millions of citizens have been misplaced and made refugees, thousands of lives lost, and the destruction of vital infrastructures and the obliteration of an entire country just to now sit down and talk? You see how irresponsible the decisions of governments are? But yet multitudes have to suffer greatly for the policy of just a few. I don't know, you guys. I don't know. And Trump is spewing out all this seditious behavior. That alone should have his butt arrested. I don't get it. I really don't get it. I really don't get it. And another thing, the most absurd thing I ever heard on the news report the other day was the global lawmakers now coming together with a project to make the earth green. All I can ask is, what damn color was the earth when your ass got here? Come on. When your asses arrived here, what color was the earth? So by their own admission, they're admitting that they have destroyed a perfectly balanced environment. Therefore, now they want to try and return it to its natural state of existence. Now, they want to raise billions of dollars for programs dedicated to repairing the damage they cause while keeping their billion-dollar industry concurrently running. How's that going to work out? I don't know. And we all know that some of that damage caused is irreplaceable, irreparable, and irreversible. Is irreparable, is irreversible, and irreplaceable. How the hell are you going to bring back the thousands of animal life forms that have already gone extinct? Some of the thousands of plant life that have already gone extinct? You can't. Jurassic Park was just a movie. Pet Sematary was just a movie. Frankenstein was just a movie. In real life, you cannot reanimate deceased life forms. It just doesn't work. And even if you could, it would not be the exact same living condition it was from before it died. So it'd be like some zombie type stuff walking around. I don't know. I don't want to think about that. But now they want to make the planet green again, after decimating it for dollar signs, not thinking that the very nature that sustains us is of more importance and greater value than whatever industries that they created to make money. Billions of years of creation has been decimated and degraded in just over 200 years. How do you even compare that? Billions of years of evolution, billions of years of natural development, and a lot of it has been decimated in only 200 years, in just over the past 200 years. That's wild. That's bizarre. That's bizarre, you guys. And to add insult to injury, do you guys know that the electric car was already invented in the 1800s? Did you guys know this? But they opted for fossil fuel because they projected that they would make much more money for the sale of fossil fuel rather than electricity. And after all these decades of degradation to our environment and harmful effects on our health, we're now going back to the electric alternative for automobiles. Elon Musk, Tesla, and all these other people. They've been using the hybrid cars in Japan for a long time now, and fully electric or hybrid, half electric and half fossil fuel. Well, and I'm going by years. I haven't been to Japan in the past 3 years, but even years before the lockdown, by then all the taxis were either hybrid, pretty much hybrid. The buses were hybrid. They're already switching over, trying to go, to more electric and more friendly, environment-friendly fuel alternatives. Anyway, they just awarded some surprises at the 2022 Earthshot Awards that they held in Boston. It was Prince William was there or whatever. I think he created it. And 5 recipients who they have plans to help repair the Earth over the next decade. But how do you award people before the Earth has even been restored? And no matter how sincere their intentions are, can they shut down all these factories and industries and stop the use of harmful materials that is killing us in our environment? I don't think so. And I'm not an optimistic, I am an optimistic person. I'm not a pessimistic person, but I can see past their feeble attempts. I'm not trying to be negative, but when you look at the damage that's being done, Now they want to get together and have groups and have these little, okay, let's get together. Let's save the earth. Let's be green and all this stuff. I don't know, you guys. I don't know. If there is a way to repair it and rejuvenate nature, it's going to take a long time. It's not going to just be some program and bam, it's going to be done. Because these are things that took a long time to even evolve to where it was to make it perfect for humans to inhabit it. This environment was perfect for humans to inhabit, and it's the humans that are destroying it. Or shall I say mankind? Humans are now an accessory to the crime, but mankind are the ones who set up all this to destroy it, okay? But history shows us that people have been ostracized and had their practicing license revoked and even murdered for coming up with viable solutions to the problems in our world that the 1% wealthiest families, big pharmaceuticals and oil companies have created. And why are they being attacked? Because it's not financially beneficial for the 1% if they were to halt the production of certain products. Their stocks and shares would plummet and they would lose their wealth. Never mind our planet, or our lives, our nature. Their continued monetary wealth is paramount to their survival, so they believe. Now, the only answer is to take our planet back, because these world powers are failing miserably, and that's what's going on. And don't worry, taking back our planet has nothing to do with enslaving or subjugating you. We just want to live our best life and be free of barbarism. That's all we want. That's all we want. We just want to live our best life and be free of barbarism. Is that too much to ask for? Well, I guess for the 1% of the wealthiest, yes, I guess it is. This is deep, you guys. I was thinking about this and I came up with another one. Billionaires are new gods. What I'm about to go into right now, you guys, is going to be very deep. I want you guys to really lean in with this, okay? Lean in with this. Billionaires are new gods. Is anyone paying attention to our new billionaire gods? The new gods of the earth are billionaires. And why do I call them gods? Religious people, hold on. Here, hang with me. It appears that reaching billionaire status now allows you to buy up and dictate any industry within your financial reach. Everything and anything is up for sale. Now, I get that part, that money buys things, but should certain industries that are built on intricate and sound science be sold to the highest bidder just because they can afford it? With great power comes great responsibility. Got that from Spider-Man. Okay, for instance, if I have no experience in the atomic energy, should I be able to buy a nuclear power plant just because I can afford it? How would I know how to safely and efficiently run such a facility if I have no background knowledge in atomic power facility maintenance? I'm sure there would have to be a high bar criteria for me to meet in order to qualify me to hold such a great responsibility in my hands. Wouldn't that make sense? Okay, well, listen to this, you guys. Are you all aware of the industries that Elon Musk has acquired? Are you guys paying attention to what's really going on? We all know that he's the Tesla electric car guy, okay? Fair enough. And that's what brought him out, the Tesla electric cars. Number two, we also know that he's now running a privatized space industry called SpaceX, okay? Sounds ambitious enough, but with privatized space projects, we have no idea what they are placing in orbit around our planet or what their intentions are for going into space. They don't have to report to us. Number three, now he's the owner of Twitter, an online social media platform. I guess you all know that because most of you have it. And since he's taken over, there's been nothing but a nonstop controversy, from keeping the Twitter staff in place to allowing offensive content to be shared. And now they talk about now he's got bedrooms in the offices for the people to sleep in. And it's just, I don't know. I don't know. As I said, going into industries that you're not an expert at, should this be allowed? Hold on, it gets better. Mr. Musk, number four, is also the founder of the Boring Company, which is carving out underground tunnels. Lately, a transport tunnel in Las Vegas for loop travel, So it's called the Intra-City Transit System. And this is what he's doing. So he's got a boring company now that's drilling holes underground. Okay? Now, here's the one that I really want you guys to pay attention to. Elon Musk is now the co-founder of the Neuralink and OpenAI companies that plan to implant chips in the human brain, chips that is, in the human brain by as early as March 2023, next year. December, January, February. That's only what? 3 to 4 months away. That's deep, you guys. Look at the industry that he has. Tesla, or this whole 5G, which is going to be even higher than 5G, but that technology is supposed to control all of our electric devices. So our homes are supposed to be smart homes. We're supposed to have smart cars, as we now have smartphones. All of our banking and everything, all of our health records, all of our passports and travel and everything is supposed to be in this one system. Are you guys, you see where I'm getting at? Also, the space programs will put satellites out in space to help control all of these things. Also, the tunnels that's going to transport us around so that our destinations are going to be predetermined and logged in, so they're always going to know where we are, where we're going, what we're doing, what we're buying, because everything is going to be online. And now with this Neuralink and the AI, what is called OpenAI, they want to put a chip in the human brain and merge our brain with their computers. They want to hack and hijack our brains. And are we just going to sit back and just comply with all this and let all this go? Because, oh, he's a billionaire. Oh yeah, Elon Musk has got this. Let's go, you guys. Just like everybody's dying to get into the metaverse. They're advertising the metaverse. They put on these goggles now. And all this stuff has an effect on your neural parts of your brain and your perception of reality and everything. None of this stuff is really healthy because it's not natural. We were created as perfect human beings. Our environment was perfect. Why do we want to replace it? Why do we want to replace humans? Why do we want to replace the human brain? Why do we want machines that can think as fast as us? Machines that can do this for us when we are still here and we can do it? I do not know the impetus and the real meaning behind what they want to do and their paradigms and I don't get it, you guys. I really don't get it. Humans have lived on this earth, if not million, but hundreds of thousands of years in harmony with nature. And now suddenly, recently, all these technologies are coming up that's just supposed to replace us, replace this, replace that, faster than this, faster than us, merge with this, merge with that. I don't get it, you guys, but this is where we're at. I'm not anti-technology, I'm not anti-advancement, but I'm pro-human. I am anti-getting rid of humans to allow machines to take over for us. I am anti that, but anyway. You seem like you would have a very strict regulation on who and why these industries are being acquisitioned. You know, is there no system of eligibility that proves that a person has the required knowledge and responsibility and best intentions with such provocative industries under their helm? You would think so, you know. Now, getting back to the pharmaceuticals, this is exactly how John Rockefeller took over the pharmaceutical industry and now has us all regulated to chemical medicines. That's why you can read a plethora of side effects that accompany these synthetic medicines, and it's slowly killing us just because he was the richest man in America at that time. And you see where I'm going with this? Elon Musk, Bill Gates, and Mark Zuckerberg, just because he was the richest man at that time, they allowed him to buy into all these industries and take over. But what was his real reason for doing this? And we're all just sitting back watching it happen. It's just the most natural thing in the world. People wake up and smell the kitchen because the coffee has already burnt a long time ago. You need to wake up and smell the kitchen. The coffee's gone. Are we all aware that Bill Gates now owns industries beyond his field of expertise? Follow me, you guys. Now, we all know that Bill Gates is a Microsoft computer guy, right? But do you also know that Mr. Gates is now the owner of the most farm land in America than any other single landowner? Now, you're wondering, what does farmland have to do with computer software? Nothing. He's investing in agri-tech movement that wants to help convert us from being meat eaters into plant-based proteins. Now, I know all you vegan and very vegetarian people go, what's wrong with that? Da, 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 da. They estimate that this agri-tech food farm business to be worth $23.4 billion by the year 2027. That's just 5 years away. But there are other senator motives behind this whole thing being whispered as to why Bill Gates wants to have a hand in this, in what we eat. It's rumored that he's advocating population control. I don't know if it's true or not, but this is what they're saying. And he wants to produce GMO foods. And what are GMO foods? Foods that derive from organisms whose genetic materials and DNA has been modified in a way that does not occur naturally through the introduction of genes from other organisms. It's not natural, people. And if it's not natural, it's not good for our natural organic bodies. So we better start paying attention to what these new billionaire gods are up to before we're all waking up like zombies one day. I think you all need to start paying attention to this. You're so caught up in Harry and Meghan, and that, I wish them the best. I don't wish nothing bad for them. But with all this going on, with my life going on, we're about to go into a recession. These people are taking over industries that are about to do what to us? And all we can do is sit up and watch all this drama and get into all this gossip and show up half naked on red carpets. And, look at where we're going, you guys. Look at what we're getting into. This is what I'm getting at. We all need to take better control of our destinies. Come back to the world. Make love great again. These are the songs that I'm singing. These are the songs that I'm coming up with. And I have another song that says, Man is Killing Earth. I'm going to release that soon. This is what's going on, you guys. And we have to start addressing it, okay? It's okay to party. It's okay to have fun. I'm not saying don't buy any designer clothes or something like that, but just don't make it your whole, don't make that stuff validate you, If you got enough money to go out and buy a $3 million Bugatti or a $400,000 Maybach or something like that, I mean, if that's what floats your boat, if you got enough money for it, okay, fine, go ahead and do what you got to do. But just don't make it your world, okay? That's all I'm saying, okay? You guys, so I'm about to wrap this up. I'm about to get out of here. I want you all to continue to take care of yourselves. The people in China, I feel sorry for them because what they're going through with their lockdown, trying to get to zero COVID, and it started in China, which is so funny. The whole thing started in China. We're all unmasked, getting on with our lives, and they're still going on with this thing, and it's getting worse over there. But they started to lift some of the restrictions that they had on them. They had people locked in their homes. People got burnt in a fire because they locked up the fire escapes, and people couldn't even get out the house because they locked them in for COVID. That is deep, you guys. That's deep. That's what I'm talking about. The government versus the people versus the government. It shouldn't be that way. The government should be helping the people, should be leading the people, okay? I'm going over time. Let me get off of this. This is going towards the end of the year. I don't know if I'll do another one before the end of the year according to the Gregorian calendar, but okay, it's the end of the year. But I wish you all a happy holiday. I wish you all the best. Please take care of yourselves and your loved one. Check in on each other because depression is real. And all I can say is I love you all very much. And if any of you had your toes stepped on from this truth and some of the information that I disseminated, it's not to be against you. It's not to be against your race or anything. It's to make us all stop and look at ourselves and look at where we're at and what we're doing and how we can make it better. That's what I'm getting at, okay? I love you much. This is Jeffrey Downs from Abuja. Until the next time,